We've got all of the basics of working with Git down. All we need to do is put them all together and talk about how you'd actually use them in the course of a normal project. We've already talked about some of these ideas briefly while we were learning how Git works, but let's look at a slightly more in-depth example. Let me actually walk you through a hypothetical example of how I use Git when I'm working at Treehouse. At Treehouse, we treat the master branch in Git as our canonical branch. Our philosophy is that code in master has to be finished, working, and ready to go into the production version of the site. At the start of the day, I embark on a new project. For the sake of this example, I'll pick something that already exists on the site. Let's say that I'm going to add GitHub info to user profiles, what kind of repositories they have, etc. The first thing that I'll do is I'll create a new branch, based off of master, since that's our stable canonical branch, with an appropriate name. In this case, I'll use add GitHub to profiles. I'm creating a new branch because this feature is going to take me more than just one commit to get finished, and I'll probably be working on it for a few days. I don't want to make those commits to master because then the unfinished project might end up live on our site. This process is commonly referred to as using feature branches. Every time you go to work on a new feature, or a big refactor, redesign, or any other kind of substantial change to your project, you would do that in a new branch. This is a great idea because it lets you keep your work on that feature isolated from the work that everyone else is doing until you're finished and ready to merge. So I've got my feature branch, and I'm doing work, making a few commits along the way. After lunch, I feel like I've made some really great progress and things are going well. Then I get an email from a member of our support team. Oh no, something seems not to be working properly with the user profiles, so I need to help troubleshoot that issue. This is where feature branches come in handy. In my Add GitHub to Profiles branch, I've been making lots of changes to user profiles all morning, so my copy of the code looks much different from what's currently live on the site. This would make it almost impossible for me to troubleshoot the issue reliably. But since master is our canonical branch, I know that the code that's live on the site is just one git checkout away, and I can take a look at it without losing any of the work I did this morning. So I take a few minutes and find the issue. It's a bug that I added to the code sometime last week as part of another project. Well, that's a bummer, but now that I've found it, I can fix it. So I'll fix it and commit it to master. Since it was a quick and easy fix, I probably don't need to worry about creating a new feature branch for it. I want that fix to go out right away so that the bug will stop affecting our students. In order to do that, I'll make sure to push my changes to our remote server so that they're ready to go live on the site. Okay, now that bug is fixed, so I can switch back to my feature branch and make some more progress. But right as I'm about to start making some changes, I get a request from one of my team members. He just finished up the feature he's been working on for a couple of weeks, and would like me to take a look over his code before he pushes it live to the site. No problem. I'll check his branch out from the remote server so I can take a look at it. While I'm in his branch, I can review his code, try running it locally, and make sure it works. Oh, and here I found a typo, so I'll commit a fix for that real quick and push it back to him. After I give my coworker feedback, I can finally get back to work on my project. I'll check my feature branch back out and make some more commits as I work through the afternoon. At the end of the day, I've made some good progress and have built up a decent number of commits for my feature branch. It's important for me to make sure the rest of the team can see what I'm working on, though, so I'm going to go ahead and push my work that I've finished so far to the central repository. As soon as it's finished, I'll merge it into master so that it can go live. But for now, I'm content to just let the other developers see my branch so they can let me know if they think I'm not approaching the problem correctly. Hopefully that gave you a better idea of how to use all the tools and information we've given you about Git on a daily basis. It might be a little difficult to think through some of the twists and turns at first, but with some practical experience, you'll be managing complicated days like the one I had in my story without having to think about it. For now, though, let's consider a few more hypothetical work situations you might run into with Git. Can you figure out the best way to handle these scenarios?